Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is dedicated to a singular movie, and we'll get to today's movie in a little bit. But first, I need to go over the movies that are in the fan vote. That's right. This vote takes place during Tay's recommendation. You can find the poll in the replies to the promotional tweet on my Twitter account at Yemmy the Ferret. The movies on the list are Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which was recommended by a retro fellow. Pitch Black, which was recommended by Slap. Big Trouble in Little China, which was recommended by Chaz. And Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which was recommended by Tim Rules. If you want to hear us talk about any of those movies, make sure you mosey on over to my Twitter account at Yemmy the Ferret. The poll will be active for the entire weekend, and whatever wins, wins. And I guess I have to say this because it happened last week, but the movie that is winning for the most amount of time, if there is a tie at the end of the poll, will end up winning, kind of like how it happened last time with the movie we talked about last fan vote. All right, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves before we introduce the movie. I am Yemmy the Ferret. Who am I here with?
Greedy Waffles.
Damation.
And Kalis.
Oh, Kalis.
Not just Kalis.
Wait, like the Klingon Kalis?
I don't know, whatever you want to, whichever way you want to take it, sure.
We should Lord of the Ringsify our names.
Oh.
Like-
Taylorthian.
Taylorthian. And I am Yemeth of Ferret Door.
Ferrador.
Nice.
Would mine be Greedafio? Greedafio?
Greedus.
Greedus of the Woof.
You sound like you're some sort of dragon or greedy. All
Yeah,
dragons. are
I am
greedy.
the dragon, of course.
He,
Yeah.
he spews maple syrup on waffles.
Yes.
He hoards the
My body.
waffles.
And I guess Kalis works pretty well.
It's already, yeah, there we go.
There you go.
But you know what, guys? We royally screwed up on the last episode.
Did
Uh-oh.
we?
When
Oh.
Yemi was introducing us, he should have been like, who wants to join me in this quest to record this podcast? And then we should have been like, oh, you can have my sword. And
You
then
can
my
have
bow.
my waffles.
And my axe.
But I had to make the Harry Potter joke.
Oh.
That is a good substitute.
Yeah.
See? I'll do it for the next episode.
It's not going to work anymore.
Sure it will.
Maybe.
He's like,
But now-
I'm
mean-
not suggesting the Return of the King. So
Oh, okay.
Now Yemmy has to defend us at Helms Deep from 1,010. What did he say? 10,000 of orcs?
10,000
Not orcs.
Yeah,
Eisenguard.
at least 10,000 orcs.
Eisenguardians.
Yeah. Want me to introduce the movie?
Yeah, please.
People
Obviously-
haven't picked up yet on it.
If you haven't picked up yet, we're talking about Lord of the Rings, specifically The Two Towers, which was directed by Peter Jackson, stars Elijah Wood, Viggo Mortensen, Andy Serkis, Ian McKellen, Orlando Bloom, Liv Tyler, Sean Astin, Marion Pippin. I don't remember their names, and it's not coming up right now. Miranda Otto, Brad Dourif, John Rhys Davies, Kate Blanchett. Was she in this one? I don't know if she was in this one.
Yeah, she
Dave
was.
Wenham as Faramir. Man, they're okay. Dominic Monaghan, that's right. Christopher Lee, Billy Boyd. It is Billy Boyd. I just wasn't sure. I was like, I don't want to say his name wrong. Apparently, Sean Bean is Boromir. I don't know if he's there. I know in later, like in the extended, there is a scene where Sean Bean is in like some of those scenes, but I don't know. I didn't watch the extended version, so I don't know if Two Towers has him or not.
Yeah, it
I
says
think
here
a little.
that
a
it
quick
says
scene.
he's in the extended version, but I don't think he's in it much. I don't even remember his
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, I don't remember
Well,
either.
I do remember he is very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, I do remember like I do remember in the extended there was, I think he's in all 3 movies, but for like a scene that's like 10 seconds long in this one, and then
Just like a flashback, yeah.
yeah, it's
Very
like
quick
Faramir.
flashback.
Yeah, Faramir remembering how his dad loved Sean Bean more than him.
I thought it was Faramir.
Faramir, Faramir. Yeah,
Faramir,
it's
yes.
Faramir.
Same
I'm saying
thing.
it wrong. So yeah, in this movie, the synopsis, the Fellowship has broken. I can't remember his name. Frodo and Sam are off to Mordor to destroy the ring. They get the help of Gollum, the old river folk turned Gollum. And then the other guys are just doing stuff. They go battle at Helms Deep.
You know, it's no big deal. They just do other things.
And then
No big-
Gandalf comes back.
Yay.
I'm back,
Spoiler.
bitches.
It's not a spoiler. They knew we were talking about this movie. So I want to start off with, what do I want to start off with?
Well, before you start off,
Oh, okay,
can I
go.
just say that I rewatched Fellowship of the Ring, the extended version, before jumping into the Two Towers extended version.
Everyone
Man.
give Callus a round of applause. Everyone, standing ovation.
And go ahead.
Oh, I'm about to say, Callus, he's becoming a real big fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I already was a fan. I don't know why it took me so long to watch the extended versions, but yeah, I just wanted to
You never
say.
did watch the extended version.
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't a true fan till now.
Yeah.
But no, I just wanted to say that I still enjoyed the extended version. I enjoyed like the extra context of the edit scenes, and I was amazed that the best scene in the movie was extended by it was doubled, and it is the scene of Legolas shooting like the 3 arrows in a row at the orcs. In the extended version, it's like he shoots 6 arrows, so that
Ooh.
scene is like turned like so much more cooler.
Yeah.
Ah.
That happens a lot with the extended version.
Yeah. All right, continue.
Okay. So let's start with it's not the first scene. I mean, we could also start there with Gandalf's first, like, little cold open or whatever, where you see what happened to Gandalf as he falls, grabs his sword, fights a Balrog, and then somehow they make it on top of a tower.
A mountaintop somehow also.
Yeah, the mountaintop. I mean, they just came out of a cave and climbed the mountain.
They just fought all the way up the mountain.
They're like, this is not a good spot for us, so let's go over there. They're like, oh yeah, the thing. Hopscotched all the way over there. They're like, all right, now we can battle.
Yeah. You think they had they'd stop for coffee or tea?
Yeah.
Well,
Got
man,
a few drinks.
yeah, we've been going on a while. Why don't we take a little breather and then we can continue the battle after, we smoke some weed and have some drinks.
I just imagine Gandalf riding on top of the Balrog, just walking along.
Well, what is this, the Lego game?
Yeah, I'll say, if you watch the extended version, you actually get to see all that. They were really good friends. They hung out for quite a while, and then the relationship went south, and they
started fighting again.
Yeah, they started fighting again, and
They fought over who could piss farther.
man, I don't know, like they were lit. They were living together in that tower ruin and having a chill time. And then after Gandalf killed the Balrog, he died, and they sent him back because actually, in that timeline, Sauron had won, so they had to kill Gandalf, send him back in time, and so he could, right that wrong.
Wow. Quite.
But that's the extended version. Most people only know that if they've read the Silmarillion.
In Elvish, too, right?
In Elvish, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, no, the translated version to English, it got cut out as well. Because at the time it was translated, relationships like that were just frowned upon. So.
Okay.
But really, I want to talk about the scene where the orcs are running, with Merry and Pippin, and they get ambushed by the riders. I don't remember the riders of Rohan. Yeah.
Rohans.
Yes. And there's that whole battle. I want to start there. So first off, did anyone notice the continuity error
I did not.
Yeah,
Tell us more.
Continuity. What?
tell me.
So, I believe it's Mary, or no, Pippin. It's Pippin. So he's, his hands are bound. He's being chased by that one orc who wants to eat him, and then that orc gets stabbed by a spear, and he's able to escape. And he rolls over, and then a horse almost tramples him.
Uh-huh.
Everyone remember that part?
Yeah.
If you watch when he rolls over and reacts to the horse about to stomp on him, his hands are unbound. Like he has them up above his head, and he's like, ah! And then which is fine because it cuts there, and you're like, oh, okay. But then when Aragorn finds them, and he's recalling their journeys through this battle, he's like, ah! And he lied here, and then he came over here and cut his bindings. And they show the flashbacks, and it's the horse about to stomp him, where his hands are unbound, and then he goes and cuts them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess
And
I
I've
didn't notice that.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Man, Jay's been studying this for years.
No, I spotted this years ago, and it still stands out to me every time, and I'm just like, how did you guys miss this? But yeah, that whole scene. What do you guys think of that scene?
So the one thing, it's weird because in the Fellowship you don't see regular orcs running around with the Uruk-hai. You only see Uruk-hai who are in the forest, right?
Yeah.
But when they're running along, all of a sudden there's some orcs mixed in there, and I kind of wonder where they came from.
Yeah.
Well, they met at the little the little mountain or the little passageway where I guess Pippin was faking a concussion or whatever.
I don't think it was faking. But
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if they're I agree, they should all be Uruk-hai, and then you see these normal looking orcs, but they're out in the sunlight. So are they Uruk-hai, or is that only goblins who can't go in the sunlight? I can't remember.
That's only goblins.
Yeah, goblins are.
Yeah, because they're in the mines.
Yeah, which is
I'm
weird
not sure.
because they talk about how the Uruk-hai are special because they can go out in the sunlight. But I don't know. I can't remember.
That's why it's a little weird when you see those sweeping shots of the Uruk-hai running around, and you don't see an orc with them, and then all of a sudden they stop by the forest, and all of a sudden there's several of them, and there's enough of them to start a little bit of a brawl before the Rohirrim come and slay them all.
Yeah.
It's not too big of a deal, but it's just something that it's just a little bit of another continuity error, I guess. There.
Yeah.
Man, we're just noticing all kinds of errors.
So what we're saying is this is the worst one, and we're done. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, that whole scene just plays out, and you're like, what? I don't know.
I like the extended version of that scene better than the little snippet version that you get at the beginning when Aragorn's going through the whole thing. I think it's a pretty nice and intense scene, and I also, I really like how Treebeard just completely destroys the orc that's following them on accident, and he's like, "Oh, are you orcs as well?" And it's like, "Oh."
I think he did it on purpose, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did on purpose. He knew what he was doing. He knew that one for sure was an orc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that whole sequence of events though, because it's a pretty intense moment. You're not sure. I mean, the action is quick. It's not like it's lingering on a shot, and yeah, I also like the orc that tries to eat them. He's one of the best looking orcs in the movie. They did a really good job with the makeup for him.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, he's the main character. You had to.
Oh, yeah,
He's the main character.
Well, for the orc.
He joins the Fellowship.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
the
they had
orc.
a ton of close-ups of him, so they probably wanted it to look really good.
Well, yeah, there was the other Warg rider too, who I thought they did a great job with as well. I forget his name. I know he has a bigger part in I think the books, but they did a good job with him, and I mean, really, they did a good job with all the prosthetics and stuff like that. But it's when you get those close-up shots of a few of them that you go, "Wow, that looks realistic."
Yeah.
Same with the orcs or the Urkai. The Urkai always, they look good too. Even
Yeah.
the close-ups
Yeah,
of
at
like,
Helms Deep and stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah, the Helms Deep. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Helms Deep?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not,
Yeah,
not
not
yet.
yet.
No.
That's the big discussion for the end, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk more about Treebeard.
Yeah.
Yemmy, by the way, do you want to be called Ferret Beard?
Sure,
Fair.
All right.
I'll take that. Yeah, Treebeard looks a lot better in the movie than in the Lego game. That's for sure.
And the one thing that really stood out to me is how like there were some of the other ants that looked really bad compared to Treebeard. Like they spend like so little time on some of the other ones.
Yeah. I mean, they probably were like, they're barely gonna, you barely will see them. So, and I think they wanted to also show that they, they come in different shapes and sizes, and but
Yeah, but like they kind of just stood out so much, like from how comparatively bad some of the other ones looked.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if
does.
it bothered you guys.
Well, it does kind of make the March to the Ents a little bit more goofy than I think it deserves. Than it should be. Like, there's the one that's like a pine tree without any needles on it, and he just kind of looks absurd and funny.
I like
And
the
he-
one that with the long hair. It looked like he had mimicked like someone with like really long hair down to like the shoulders. That one was looking cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But it's like the March of the Ents is like such an epic moment in the movie, and I love the song for the March of the Ents too. And you see Treebeard in there, and he's like looking real cool. And then, like Calla said, like some of the other ones are just kind of like we put the least amount of work we could ever possibly do into this one. Yeah.
Imagine how different Helm's Deep battle would have been if they had the Ents.
Probably would have been over pretty quickly. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did go over and pretty quickly when they ran in force. But anyways, that's later.
Kind of.
I do want to mention, like, Merry and Pippin, they were sleeping and then they were drinking that water that was making, they were like, oh, I'm growing taller. And then the tree was like starting to suffocate them. Like, why? Like,
That's the extended version stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tay.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, that's the extended version. I didn't see that scene. I didn't watch the extended this time.
I watched the extended.
Nah.
It is. I want to say it's the extended version on Two Towers is definitely a tougher watch than Fellowship.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the end of after all this, it was like I've definitely felt the runtime to this movie compared to the first one.
Oh
Yeah.
The extended cut for
definitely-
Two Towers adds about an hour of extra footage.
It's even worse with the
It
Return
does.
of the King, but with the Return of the King, it's much more cooler because they show like how they break into like Minas Tirith and all that.
Yeah, I saw that one time for Return of the King was like more than 4 hours.
Yeah, I ended up
But I
watching the extended version, and then I was like, I need to watch the regular version to really get the true experience of the original. And
I just was like, I don't have the time to watch this extended version right now.
yeah, I feel like the original version is pretty much perfect in terms of length, runtime, pacing, stuff like that. Yeah, they do kind of linger on like this Aragorn will he won't he romance with the two different women in the movie, but you kind of got to add that stuff. You got to add that stuff for the ladies in the audience, right?
Sure.
Yeah, just for people who like the romance. What's funny in the books, like Arwen is barely in the books until like the end of the third one, and I remember reading as a kid going like, oh look, Aragorn's he's gonna be getting a lady. That's nice. And then he like turns her down. I was like, what? Why would you do that?
But yeah, like I was saying, the extended version is just it's a little much in my opinion, and I don't think I'm gonna judge the movie on the extended version. I think I'm gonna keep it with the regular
theatrical.
and the theatrical release. I just they wanted to add everything that they had into the extended cut, and that's fine. And it does add more lore and elements that they had to cut out of the movie for runtime. And yeah, so it's a little bit harder of a watch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I gotta watch the extended for the next one too, because I gotta
Yeah.
commit.
Well, you do. You've never seen them.
Yeah.
Oh, the extended for Return is probably the best one. So it's definitely a must watch.
Yeah, I do like some of the things. Well, we're not talking about that. We're not talking
Yeah,
about
let's
Return of the King.
Two
take that.
towers.
Two towers.
Two Towers.
But I do like how and I didn't really notice this like growing up and watching these is how much they poke fun of Gimli throughout this whole movie. Like how slow he is, how short he is. Like they poke fun of him a lot. I was
Yeah.
like, dang.
Yeah, in this one,
Kind of the
Gimli,
comic relief.
yeah, he turns into that
Yeah.
comic relief. Because in the first movie, he didn't really have. I must be honest here. He didn't really have too much to do in the first movie. He led them to, he's in the mines and he has that moment in the mines, but other than that, you don't really see Gimli or Legolas for that matter. But in
Yeah.
this movie, this is where they start to, you can actually see their character, and they actually start to form this bond, in the Two Towers movie.
Yeah, definitely. What's funny is, I wonder if like the reason he wasn't in as much, especially in the first one, is just because, the actor who plays him, well, in quotes, plays him, most of the time it's his body double, because the prosthetics messed with his, like he was allergic to the prosthetics. Reese Davies.
Oh yeah,
John Reese
I,
Davies.
I
or whatever his
remember
name is.
hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times it is his small stunt double, and then it's just voiceovered by the actor.
He also played Treebeard,
He did also play Treebeard.
Yes,
or
he did.
voiced Treebeard. I should
Voiced.
say.
Yeah. Yeah, Treebeard was a giant puppet.
So does he just play every character that has a beard,
Yes.
including
because
Gandalf?
I was thinking Aragorn has a beard, and
A long
Gandalf
beard.
has a beard.
Every character with a long beard,
Unless it's white or gray.
right?
Can we can we talk about Gandalf coming back and punking Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli? Yeah.
Yeah, how he sounds like Saruman, Saruman at first, and then slowly the voice changes to Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
He did
knew
it for Merry and Pippin too, kind of.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should see that scene.
But that was more Treebeard, I guess, punking them than. Well, I guess Treebeard didn't know, but
Well, yeah,
I guess.
Treebeard just called him the White Wizard.
Yeah.
So like,
And wait, I was a bit confused with that too, because did he have like some sort of amnesia at first and like slowly regain his memories?
Probably a little bit.
Because they were saying like, oh, Gandalf, and he's like, oh yes, Gandalf,
That's what they
or
used
something
to
like
do.
that.
Yeah, well,
But he
remember,
gained it back real quick.
if you remember from the extended version in Elvish,
Okay, here we go.
it was hundreds and thousands of years before he saw them again. But really, actually, it was a long time. Like he says in there that he like went through eternity and then came back as Gandalf the White. So yeah, he's kind of lost most of his memories. That they slowly start coming back.
He died and resurrected.
But yeah, he died and resurrected.
yeah, I just find it funny that he's there and he's like, I'm not gonna show myself entirely to these folk. And he kind of punks him a little bit. Gets him good.
He got him good. They're like, oh no, it's Saruman, we're screwed. Oh, it's Gandalf. I gotcha, bitches. But yeah, I do like comes back and then like almost immediately leaves them again. That's
Yeah.
nice. They go to Rohan first, fix Theoden, then he's like, all right, boys, I'm out. Peace. I'll be back. 5 days. Classic.
Also,
Look
Gandalf.
to the east.
I also like how when Gandalf calls the horse, Gimli and Aragorn all suddenly have horses. I was like,
No, they
oh,
got
were they
horses.
just... Well, yeah, they got them from the
Yeah.
Rohan people, but it's like, where did they put them when they went into the forest? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
you say
that's
right,
true.
horse. maybe tied him up, but I don't know.
I guess so.
Well, they don't need to show us go back, get him, and walk him through the woods.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
in
don't
the,
think
the
they
extended
took him.
extended.
Yeah, that's also
Yeah.
the extended.
That's the extended mundane version where they show you everything in real time, even the stuff you're like, yeah, we got it. They walked.
How many hours is it?
Oh, you don't. I mean, how long does it take to walk across New Zealand?
Sure.
It's that long.
Let me check my birthmark. Oh, I haven't told you guys that like I have a birthmark on my rib cage that's like it's very similar to the shape of New Zealand. So I always joke around that it's the map of New Zealand.
Oh,
There you go. Cowes is New Zealand. Confirmed.
just means you're supposed to move to New Zealand in your future.
Yeah,
Maybe I will.
Yeah, it's a nice place. You should.
I think
It
where
is a very
you're
nice place.
where you're at right now, I probably want to stay where you're at.
Oh, yeah.
I hear New Zealand's nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to Two Towers here. Gimeth Wormtongue. I think we're at that part. Kind of an underrated character, kind of an underutilized character, a little bit in the movie. I feel like he should have had a little bit more time interacting with the Fellowship. Because I think the guy who plays him does a great performance, but he's just not in there enough.
Yeah, I think he's more in the extended.
Yeah, he's
I don't know.
in there a little bit more.
But literally, the extended is just him. Like, no, I think it's even in the regular version where he's telling Saruman like the plans for the Rohan people, how's it going to Helms Deep and all that.
Yeah,
I think that's in the regular. Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the regular.
But the guy who played him put on such a great performance, and that scene where he's like trying to worm tongue his way into the mind of Theoden's daughter, right?
Niece.
Yeah,
Niece.
when she's
That was one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it was just he did a great performance, and it's just too bad that they didn't have more of him in there.
he's not in the Return of the King, is he?
Yeah, he is.
He is.
In the extended.
Yeah, he's barely in.
He's barely in the normal unless you see the extended.
Because he was in the tower with Sauron when it fell. So,
Yeah.
in the extended, well, never mind. We'll talk about that next time. But
Next time.
maybe next time. We'll see what Cal's picks.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I was like, I am so not picking it.
But yeah, I do. I think Gimeth Wormtongue deserved a little bit more screen time, maybe a few more instances of his trickery in there. Because, like I said, I think the performance was great.
What do you call him?
Gimeth Wormtongue?
It's Grima.
Grima?
Grima.
All right, that's just a childhood way of saying it that I haven't corrected.
Okay, that's fine. I was just like, are you saying it wrong or am I hearing it wrong?
But anyway, would have liked to have more of him.
Yeah, he did good. Every time they throw him down the stairs when they finally eject him from Rohan, I'm just like, oh, that looks so painful.
Yeah, that had to hurt.
I mean, it's all like probably. I mean, it's a stun double. Two, it's probably all padded stairs, not actual stone. But God, he sold it well.
Yeah.
I'm just like, as in my 30s, I'm just like, well, I would not ever be able to sleep again. My bad back would just be my existence at that point.
They do a good job of when Gandalf's walking up towards the king, where like Saruman like completely takes over the king. That was a good scene. I like that, where he just like starts communicating through him. I thought that was pretty cool.
And he's like, I've beaten Gandalf the Grey before. I'll do it again. And he's like, nah, bro, I'm now white.
He's like, nah, bruh.
I really
I'm
like
gray,
I really like the effect when the king, turned from pale white to like looking almost dead, back to normal.
They
Yeah,
did.
That was done really well.
That was done really, really well.
Yeah. So, obviously, this Two Towers has way more action than the Fellowship of the Ring. And I remember I was saying last time that the parts with the Ents kind of broke up the battles a little bit too much, but I didn't actually feel like it was that intrusive this time watching it.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, and I also felt like the screen time for the Ents and like their meeting was a little too long too. And maybe it was just the extended version, but they're like, "Oh, we just finished saying good morning or good night or whatever," and it was like 2 hours later. I was like, "Oh man."
I think you heard me wrong. um, I was saying that the end stuff really wasn't that bad when
Oh, yeah, then I did hear you wrong.
in the normal version it's not that bad because like when you're a kid and you're watching the movie, you're listening to the Ents talk and you're like, oh my god, just get back to Helms Deep or Osgiliath or whatever. And it wasn't like in my opinion it wasn't too bad. Yes, as I've already stated, the extended version it's a little bit more rough there, but I'm judging this on the theatrical version, and it was not as bad as I remembered it being.
I
Yeah, I
have
do
a
remember
question.
feeling. No, sorry, go ahead.
Go, no, you go ahead because I was gonna change it, move it down.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say how I felt like when Mary and Pippin were like starting to get anxious, like I was getting anxious with them. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
come on, like they're right.
Yeah. They're
See, I
like,
just
"Oh yeah,
remember-
we just figured out you're not orcs," and we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, we knew that already."
Yeah, that part was funny.
Yeah. No, like for me, when I saw it, when I was younger, I actually would like appreciate it because it's how it was in the books. They were just really, really slow talkers. Although I think if I remember, I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but in the books there is one. If I remember, there is one Ent who actually like makes up his mind that yeah, they're fine. We need to go to war, and like hangs out with Merry and Pippin because he made up his mind or like within like an hour, while the others were still saying hello. But I don't, like I said, don't remember if that is accurate or just my brain making this up or what. But if it was in the book, I would like to have seen that in the movie.
Well,
But-
reread the book and then report back to us next time.
I'll just reread that scene. How about? Actually, I don't even know if I have a copy of Lord of the Rings. I think I read. My brother had a copy back when I read it, and so I read his copy.
I think that scene is on page 632. No,
There you go.
The books are not that long.
I do like how they make Merry and Pippin more of like an important part of. They're not just kind of like there to fuck things up. They actually like the how they got Treebeard to walk literally in the wrong direction was pretty good. And it actually, I mean, they got the Ents to go to war. I mean, just by having him walk the wrong way,
well, just as I think you said it, Yemmy, in the first movie is we see their growth and we see their maturity, and yeah, it definitely shows in this one.
I guess having the near-death experience really helped them.
Several near death.
Several.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's also showing that they kind of understand more about the world. Like
Yeah.
I guess they go through that trauma to understand like, hey, the world isn't all the Shire folk, nice people.
Don't you mean the middle world?
Haha.
and it's cool that they knew how important the Ents were, and they knew that they had to go to Isengard to beat it or defeat them. But also, that was what I was going to say earlier: is how did Treebeard and the Ents not know their forests were getting cut down? I mean, I don't know.
It's a big forest. I don't know.
Yeah. Big forest, and since Saruman had kind of shown that he didn't care for trees as much anymore, they're probably like, well, I don't really want to hang around with that guy anymore.
We also there's only a select few amount of trees who can actually walk, or
Yeah.
a lot of the other ones, because when the orcs are cutting down the trees originally, you can hear them like kind of doing like that tree scream, and I think that's in the original movie. I'm sorry, the Fellowship. So they're alive, but they can't like move and communicate and whatever like the Ents can. So how would Treebeard or the other Ents know if they hadn't been to that part of the forest in a while?
Yeah, and remember, it was only a few weeks since he started tearing. Well, maybe months since he started tearing these down. So I don't know.
Industrial Revolution, baby.
Yeah.
Was the time frame really months?
I don't really know. It's hard to tell with movies.
I
probably...
would think about, like from the point where he started cutting down the trees. I mean, he probably moved pretty fast.
Yeah, you have to remember
Gandalf. Dam too.
Yeah. You have to remember like Gandalf was captured when he started. So
yeah.
It's hard to tell movie / even the book, just because the books jump around to something like, okay, we are now 300 leagues away, and you're like, but how many days did it take you to travel that, or weeks, or months, or hours? It's like, I don't know.
How long did it take them to travel to Helms Deep? Do we know?
No idea. Yeah, no idea.
Well.
So
you imagine being a Saruman and hearing Treebeard scream like that, just like Saruman probably like shit his pants or something.
What is that noise? Oh no! What is that smell? Oh, I shit myself.
One thing I do wish they didn't show it is the Ents breaking the Eisenguard walls. I wish they showed that.
No, they didn't really need to. I mean, they probably just walked over him. Honestly.
There's a couple of spots where you see holes in the walls and like it was all broken up.
Yeah, I think they were like grabbing like stones to throw at Saruman's tower at that point that they showed. Yeah. So maybe they had maybe they did break a part of the wall and they started just breaking apart even more to try and hit Saruman.
Also, how did Saruman have nothing to do against them? He's a wizard. He was able to collapse a whole mountain, and you telling me he can't do anything against trees?
Yeah, can't hurl a fireball there, Saruman?
Yeah,
that's all you gotta do.
I mean, that's the one thing I did notice. I was like, how is Saruman not doing anything? How is he so powerless right now?
Yeah, he's just pacing back and forth, going, "Oh no, oh no."
Yeah.
Well, you see, when the Ents go to battle, his magic doesn't work on Ents.
Yeah, that must be it.
Sure.
He forgot to learn anti-tree magic.
Yeah, he should have. If he had gotten Radagast the Brown on, he could have done something. But
that was the next chapter. That was next week's lesson. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of silly that he wasn't able to do anything.
Yeah. It would have been cool to see him try to fight back, and then how they countered that and stuff. So, and still
I like how they show that one Ent on fire, and once the water started rushing in, he dove in head first.
Yes, I love that part.
Yeah, I don't think the Ents had one casualty during the battle.
Yeah,
because you saw the one Ent fall down, but I don't think the orcs were able to chop him up enough.
Well, Treebeard saved him by rolling that rock over on top.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's all good.
Well, when you're a 20-foot tall walking tree, not a lot of things can do stuff to you,
except fire.
Yeah,
except fire. But
well,
one weakness.
Speaking of great action scenes, the battle with the wargs was still pretty impressive to watch. I was expecting the effects to kind of age super poorly, but it wasn't that bad. It was actually still pretty thrilling, and the wargs looked pretty good with the riders on top of them, and the battling with the horses and stuff.
I was trying to remember what that Rohan guy, I forget his name. I can't think of the name. The ginger-looking one, the kind of the captain, or the king's side
Faramir?
Faramir?
No, Faramir is the son of Gondor.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I know who you're talking about.
Not the captain. No, not the king's son.
Yeah, no, the
His
king's
like
like
second hand.
Yeah, it's
second hand.
yeah,
it's
his captain or general.
Aramir or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I was wondering, like, I was trying to remember throughout the movie how he died. I thought it was at Helms Deep, but or no, it was at Helms Deep.
No,
But like, I
No,
couldn't.
it was on the way to Helm's Deep by the Wargs.
The war, yeah, it eats his face. That's right. No,
Yeah.
he was at the.
No,
he was at the-
Aramir
there's-
doesn't die in the Two Towers. His buddy gets.
Oh, his buddy.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like there's two of them who look very
It
similar.
is, yeah. It's actually difficult to tell them apart, because the one guy literally has like the same headpiece as he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember, like I thought it was the commander who died, and then the other guy got promoted to commander because the other one died. But I don't know. It's hard to tell them apart.
Yeah, so I was right originally, but I was trying to remember how he died, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's how.
A warg to the face. No
Yeah.
one wants that.
That the first part of that battle where Legolas is just sniping the wargs while they're running towards them is also pretty awesome too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like out of all like scenes, that's like the scene that needed the slow mo, and like him hopping up on that horse was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looked kind of janky, but still cool.
Yeah, because it's like I'm pretty sure that was filmed in reverse. No, I don't know.
No,
was
I think
CGI.
that one-
It was
I think
definitely
that one-
CG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting him to go around like the left side of the horse, but he wraps
Yeah.
around to the right, and it kind of looks weird, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the very first time we saw elves defy physics.
Yeah. Little did we know that in the past he had done it before.
Yeah.
And of
I
course,
don't know how-
Minorly. It was okay.
I was Legolas. I would just stayed up there and just kept sniping people.
Well, I mean,
But
the
I know,
wargs
he had to go.
were
He had to go.
closing the distance, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that's kind of like I think that's kind of like an underrated action scene in the movie because obviously Helms Deep takes the cake and the March of the Ents, but the fight with the wargs is it's like it's a real quick battle, but it's a pretty visceral one,
It was a
Yeah,
much needed battle, and it was a good segue to like, Aragon finding out, the armies of coming to Helm's Deep, and that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, how many? So that's the only reason, like, that when Aragorn falls, I'm just like, at first, yeah, I was thinking like, oh, this is just so not Arwen, Eowyn. Eowyn could be like, oh no, the guy I was interested died. Oh, but he's back, yay! But no, really, it's so he can see the armies and go, oh shit.
Ah, crap.
I did think they overplayed Aragon, air quotes right now, dead. I was like, hey, he just fell in the water, and they don't even show the warg. I was like, maybe if they showed the warg, on the bottom of the river, and like, dead. Maybe
Yeah, like
it
on the
could've-
shoreline.
Yeah, it could have been a little more realistic, but everyone knew he was alive.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of pointless to try and fake his death in particular. But I mean, they didn't really beat around it too long. I mean, it wasn't too long after that you see him on the shore, and then the horse comes by and
Mates out with them.
Yeah.
well, he lays next to him.
Yeah. And if I remember right, I don't think that happened in the book. Like, I don't think he has a fake death, but I don't remember. Again, it's been like 15 years, 20 years since I've read the book, so I don't remember.
Yeah, we don't
Wow.
expect you to remember every detail.
I expect that. You should have remembered.
I should have. You're right, Callus.
Callous seasoned reader.
All right, fine. I will abandon this podcast for my failures. I'm sorry.
Tay will
Season
start
3, here we
his
go.
book reading podcast.
Book reading.
It'll come out after every one of our episodes.
Where I read the book that the movie is based on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One a trio that we've forgotten to talk about.
I know. I've been thinking about that too. We have not
Yep.
talked about
Frodo,
Frodo,
Sam, Gollum. I mean, obviously, Gollum still looks really good in the movie. There are some scenes where, you can definitely tell that he's like placed over like the area that he's in. But I will say this, it's kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when he's interacting with like the clothing and, the water and stuff like that, it still looks pretty good.
Yeah, the water is really good because I know it was Andy Serkis, actually splashing around in the water.
Yeah.
There was one scene where they're at the gates and they're discussing going through the gates, and he keeps grabbing onto Frodo's cloak to be like, "No, don't." And like I didn't notice it was very clear that no one was actually interacting with the cloak. It was just like a warp effect on the cloak.
Oh, really?
I didn't
notice that.
notice that.
I don't know.
I had never noticed that before until this viewing. I was like, "Huh, that looks weird."
But I mean, damn. I mean, you talk about all-time great performances.
Oh yeah.
Andy Serkis's Gollum, and especially when he's switching between Smeagol and Gollum,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah, where he's talking to himself. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good. Or he's battling between the two. Yeah, that's really good.
And
Yeah.
also, like a really cool thing that I noticed in this viewing is how when he's being oh jeez, I forgot what's the other name before
Sam,
Gollum.
Frodo,
What was his
Smeagol?
name? No,
Smeagol.
Gollum's name. Smeagol. Yeah, okay.
Smeagol
So when he's
Gollum.
Smeagol, you see his pupils like very dilated, and then when he's back to Gollum, you can see the pupils like shrinking back, and then like
Yeah.
moving back and forth between the two
Like
two
little-
personalities. It's
Yeah,
a
they
really
do-
cool effect.
They also do good work with like the cinematography to like they change the angle when one side of him is talking, the other isn't.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with that throughout the
Yeah.
movie too.
I still love that scene where he's arguing with himself. Although I do find it weird that Sam and Frodo just
Don't
sleep
hear him.
through that, especially when he's yelling, "He's gone!" Like,
Yeah.
okay, how did they at least not wake up to that? But yeah, their whole story, it kind of takes a backseat to Helms Deep, I feel.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
it is definitely really good. Besides, it still kind of bugs me that they get taken to the city.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Osgiliath.
like, that did not happen, if I remember right. Did not happen in the books. Like Boromir pretty much at that cave made this choice that no, we can't have the ring. Let him go. Which I guess this ups the like crap, he's gonna be just like his brother, like.
Yeah, I guess they just wanted to draw that parallel because he even like longingly looks at the ring,
Yeah.
kind of like Boromir does in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a big problem with them being taken to. I mean, obviously, I didn't read the books, so it's like I don't have a huge problem with them being taken to Osgiliath.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
seemed
we
like-
do get that cool wraith scene, so.
Yeah, we get that, and then we also get to see the Rangers take out an elephant or two.
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
That was a cool scene.
Yeah, well, that part happens in the books. Like I said, they go to the cave, and in the books, like I said, he lets him go, which I liked in the books just because it made Faramir seem like so much better
Wiser,
than Boromir.
better,
Yeah, like
yeah.
wiser than Boromir, and like just a better guy. And then you're like, yeah, I like Faramir. And in the movie, you kind of go, do I like Faramir? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they're there, I do like the scene, and this only in the extended, where Faramir is like, if you hurt them or whatever, I'm going to kill you, that kind of stuff. I was
Oh,
like, well, spoiler.
Yeah,
Because he knew the path he was taking them. He's like, yeah, that's not a good path, but he still let them go. So.
Well, but yeah, he knew it was also the only path, so. But yeah, I do like in the city we get that lovely little speech from Sam, which I do love.
That was a great speech.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a chef's kiss
So,
great speech.
So is that speech like what convinces Faramir that okay, yeah, I should just let him go?
I don't know if Faramir hears that speech.
So
But-
what convinces him then to change his mind?
Well, he doesn't he see the effect that the ring is having on Frodo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
because of the Nazgul scene, he's like, yeah, he got to destroy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Sam tackles him, but there's also a quick scene of Faramir seeing Frodo being possessed by the ring and wanting to give it to the Nazgul. So he's probably like, fuck that.
Yeah. He saw the power, and he's like, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And as we
not a good power.
And in the third movie, it does a good job of showing Faramir as a fuck up and how mad his dad was.
Well, I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, no talking about the third movie.
Yeah, even if Callus doesn't pick it this time, one of us can pick it our next pick.
I'm gonna watch it and talk about it. You guys talk about a different movie. No.
You know what? I'll join you there. Especially if it's Transformers.
Oh.
Oh no. A question. So Frodo and Sam are let go at the end, and they have to like continue their path towards Mordor. Do they make like any progress at all during the entire movie? Because to me, it seems like they just ended at the same place it started. Not the same place, but like same distance, basically.
Well, Gollum leads them to the Black Gate, which is literally on the edge of Mordor, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
they
Faramir takes them. back.
They get kind of sidetracked by Faramir, and they do like a half circle over to Osgiliath, which is right by Minas Tirith, which is the closest city to Mordor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with like the Middle Earth map or where everything is located, but to me it seems like they made no progress distance-wise towards Mordor, like by the end of the movie.
Yeah, from the Black,
because they take him back.
Well, yeah, once they get to the Black Gate, then they don't make any progress. But up until then, they do make a good amount of progress from where they were.
It just seems like they were taking like far back, further than what they were.
Yeah, from where the Black Gate, where we saw them at, is literally a straight path is Minas Tirith. It's like a next state over, pretty much.
A state.
Yeah, if I remember right, the map for the Black Gates is north of the city they go to. So, yeah, they did do some backtracking there. Thanks for it, Faramir.
Thanks a lot.
Callus was saying Sam's speech earlier was really good. But I always think back to Sam's talk about potatoes.
Oh yeah.
And we want to think of the song when he said, "Smash 'em, boil 'em."
Boil 'em, smash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
Yep. That song went in my...
What's taters, eh? No, that's such a great like little, I don't know, kind of like a reprieve from like how, I don't know, dour their journey has been. Just the part where he's, Gollum's like, what are you doing? Just eat eat raw fish, eat it raw.
Raw rabbits. Yeah. Well, I really like that scene just because before that, Frodo had told Sam to try to be nicer to him. And you can see him really trying there, where he's like, well, even you can't say no to potatoes.
Yeah.
and saying things like, oh, well, you're hopeless, instead of, calling him names and whatnot. So I like that he actually sees Sam trying to do what Frodo asked him to do.
And by the end of the movie, he was like actually treating him nice when they were let go.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sam, so in the first movie, Gandalf has the best line in the movie when he's like, "Fly, you fools." But in this movie, the best line goes to Sam when he says, "His gardener."
Oh yeah.
His gardener.
Yeah.
One thing that kind of always bugged me, I mean, it happens a lot in books. So, it got transported over to the movies. But communication. Like when Frodo's just like, come on, Gollum, when he's swimming in that pool. Just like, come on, we're going to go. Oh no, you've been captured. And that's what turns him kind of against Frodo. But like if he just said, hey, bud, there's some guys trying to kill you, but if you come with me, they'll not kill you.
Yeah, he could have done better, I feel like also.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think that's also like the first time that he calls himself master to Smeagol, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which also kind of took me off guard. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Master's here. And it's like,
a little cocky there, huh?
Shouldn't say that, Frodo. But.
All right. Yeah. You guys ready to talk about the
Helms Deep
battle?
Well, I feel like this podcast is going on a little long already. I guess we should probably save it. Yeah, we should save it now. No one cares about Helms Deep anyways.
Go to the end. Yeah.
Oh wait, we did talk about the end already. So yeah, we're done.
So Helms Deep though, great battle.
Phenomenal battle.
Probably the best battle in the trilogy. Do you guys think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely worth the wait.
There's some good battles in Return of the King, for sure. But Helm's Deep definitely just feels better, just because it's like this is definitely a hopeless situation kind of thing, and it starts raining like right as the battle's starting.
Yeah.
The set pieces for it are just amazing.
One thing I do want to talk about before, like, I mean, it's still leading up to the Helms Deep, so we're still in the same ballpark. Is when Aragorn sees the the Urks marching. There's no ladders, and there's no the catapults or whatever you want to call them. It's like it would have been kind of cool, like to see just like in the slight background those kind of things. You could be like, oh, what's that, and then you see it at Helms Deep. You're like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they show nothing of that. I was like,
No, I mean they weren't having the ladders straight up. They were probably carrying them like so you couldn't see them if they were in a crowd.
Yeah,
They
they're like
also
carrying
could've-
them between them.
They also
Yeah.
could have built the stuff at location. That's what medieval times used to do a lot. Is
Yeah.
they would
Yeah,
take
I
the
guess.
supplies there, and then they would create, build the catapult or build the ladder. That also could be why, they didn't use that heavy duty big catapult thing that like shot the iron grippers or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they didn't use it until later in the battle, because they were still setting it up from moving it, That
Yeah.
was
That,
pretty
that
big.
makes sense.
Or
yeah.
it was at the back of the army, and it
Yeah.
because they move a little slower, so then they just get there later, and then they come to the front and.
Or, I know they show the bomb, like show Saruman like building the bomb, but it would have been like, kind of cool to see him like carrying it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me.
I mean, I don't know.
From that distance, you would not be able to see that.
Yeah. I don't know if we needed this. I mean, I think it's better to have like a sort of a surprise, like, oh, how are the Urks going to, take over this wall other than just brute force, and then
enough.
you actually see like the ingenuity of Isengard, aka Sauron, because, I mean, obviously gunpowder isn't like a big thing in the Lord of the Rings at all, but the fact that he builds bombs and he creates these gadgets of war that you don't see on the opposite side just kind of shows how much of an edge they have that the Urks have in the battle. And I think it's better to have that surprise rather than seeing, Saruman create the ladders and create the crossbow and have them dragging it across the ground.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I would have hated to have the job of carrying the bombs or pushing the catapult if they did have to push them, or if not, maybe
might
they
have
did.
been, they might have been like wagons or something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Who knows?
Yeah, you can imagine they had to carry it like in pieces over there, so like each org carry a piece.
Yeah.
This is not the important conversation.
Yeah. Anyways.
This is the important conversation. Who cares about battles?
No,
No, I was joking.
I
I do.
mean,
That
scene where it's just kind of like silent except for the rain, and then the Orcs start doing their war chant. Oh
Yeah.
man, that is like the perfect build up. And then the one arrow lets fly, and you're like, and so it begins. And it's just such a great line for the start of that battle.
How else do you think the battle would have started if that didn't happen?
I
You
mean,
think
they
the
orcs-
orcs would have just like gone forward?
they still would have
Yeah.
gone forward, but maybe not at that moment. I don't know.
they
Yeah,
were
they probably would have just
probably
started
trying.
rushing.
Yeah, they were probably trying to build up tension and make them, get them scared. Give the people in the back time to get there.
Yeah.
So it was probably better that he loosed that arrow because, you start the battle on your terms. Don't wait till your enemies.
Yeah.
Cool to
Yeah,
see the elves
prepared.
come too. It was
Well,
a good
yeah.
surprise.
The elves, that was a pretty cool moment. And also this battle has I mean, I wouldn't say it's a big death, but it's this movie doesn't have a lot of like deaths in it, right? But the one death that just happens for Haldir
Oh dear, yeah.
Yeah, and the elf.
is a pretty brutal one,
Yeah, I can't remember if he's in the extended more in like the first movie, but it's like I always felt like they're like, oh, you're supposed to be like sad he's died, and just like we've seen this guy twice for like 10
Yeah.
seconds.
Let's say we really don't know who he is though through this movie at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I mean, it is kind of like there's Boromir, Lurtz, and then Haldir are like the main character deaths so far in the movie, right?
Which one's Lurtz?
Lurtz, the Uruk-hai from Fellowship.
That killed Boromir.
He's the only named Uruk-hai.
All right. I mean, we've
And
also
see-
seen the ginger guy get killed from the warg,
Yeah. Well,
I don't
and then
know. If,
obviously a
I-
bunch of unnamed
He wasn't
guys.
like a main. Like a
yeah, I'm
main
talking about like people
character.
who like they got named and
Mm-mm.
I don't know. But that's besides the point. I mean, you look at the Battle of Helms Deep. It's. I mean, I'm going to use the word epic. You know, I'm going to use the word visceral. I'm going to use the word amazing. You know, and
Oh yeah.
I was look. I'm gonna bitch about Twitter for a second here because someone
Okay.
that I know watched all three of these movies, and I don't know if they were just being facetious, but he was like, "Damn, dude, I watched 9 hours of extended cuts just to see some people walk across, you know, to a place," and I'm like, "You either missed the point or you didn't pay attention close enough because there's a lot more going on than just walking." And I think the Battle of Helm's Deep really shows us like, hey, this is something bigger than just carrying a ring, you know, walking across the distance, right? You could say that about the first movie, sure, why not? They pretty much just walk across the first movie. But the second and third movie, it's like we have these great locations, awesome set pieces, great action throughout the entire movies. To say they just walk and it's super boring, is beyond me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Oh,
yeah,
you know what
some
it
people are
was?
like that, I guess.
He probably watched the extended version of Fellowship of the Ring, which is 9 hours long, and it is just walking. So
Yeah. A lot of cutscenes of just them walking.
yeah. But yeah, no.
So
Helm's
back to the
Deep-
battle.
Yeah, for me, for the longest time, like if you asked me to rate the three movies, I would always say, 2 Towers was my favorite, and it was just because of the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, I was just like, everyone agrees with that, right? Like the second one's the best because of Helm's Deep, and apparently not, but.
Well, I mean, it's been like a while since I've seen all the movies, but
Yeah.
like from what I remember, I think the second one did used to be my favorite out of the three.
Yeah, same. I mean, yeah, same here. I mean,
Yep.
I got a lot of playtime out of those games that featured Helm's Deep in them. You know, the first level in Return of the King, the last two levels of Two Towers, the Third Age even had a large section for Helm's Deep.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just, you know, when you're a kid, you look for the, you know, you're more interested in the action, and this movie delivered in all fronts on action. And yeah, when I was a kid, yes, I did skip the end scenes, you know, and I did skip, you know, pretty much all of Osgiliath, but that's just because like Helm's Deep is that awesome, like you want to get to it. But I understand why they break it up, though. You know, it does need to be broken up a little bit to kind of be like, here's what they're doing. It's important what they're doing, especially Merry and Pippin, because you know they almost single-handedly take out Saruman, and they're just like two hobbits and an ent, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that main meat and bones of the Helm's Deep battle, it's just like I said, it's just awesome. It's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if they then the books actually, so each book is split into 2 books, and one just focuses, like especially in the second 2, it focuses on you just get Helm's Deep and Aragorn and all them for the whole book, and then it skips the second half of the book is just Sam and Frodo's journey, which I'm glad they didn't do it that way, but at the same time, also I wish they had, just so I could get nothing but.
Yeah, 2 hours of Helm's Deep. And
Yeah.
I think they summed it up pretty well, though. You know, they hit all the major points. You know, the wall being broken, the front gate being breached, them
Throwing
getting into
Gimli.
throwing Gimli, them being held up in the Hall of Kings and saying how no enemy had ever breached the walls and whatever. And
Yeah.
I do think that they did a good, like, I guess if you're talking about a whole book full of, Helm's Deep, they did a pretty good Cliff Notes version of that,
Yeah, they did a good job. And I liked the callback because in the first movie, Gimli says, no one tosses a dwarf.
Yeah.
And now he's like, okay, you got to toss me.
Don't tell the elf.
Don't tell the elf.
Yeah.
That's my favorite line.
Speaking of the elf, it's like in the first movie he had the most badass scene when he's like shooting the like arrow after arrow. In this movie, he also has like the most badass scene when he's like shield surfing down the stairs, shooting arrows. It's
Yeah.
like, so cool.
Legolas will forever be my favorite character in Lord of the Rings. And even like as I'm sure we told you before, like me and Yemmy will like mock play like Lord of the Rings like scenarios, and like we got bows and arrows, and like we got swords from like a county fair that we used to go to,
Yeah.
and I always got the arrows. So I was like, all right, I'm Legolas. Who are you, bitch?
I would usually be Aragon. But yeah, because I think I talked about this last time. Like, Greedy had like this dirt mound in front of his house, and it was like the perfect like section of a wall of Helms Deep. You know, we could just recreate the battle there. It was good times.
No, that sounds fun.
You don't have any videos?
No.
Well,
yeah, you do have the
Oh,
ones
I-
when we're on the trampoline.
yeah, I don't think I have anything of the dirt mound or anything like that. But I used to have a trampoline, and we made a lot of homemade movies where it was just like Nick was invisible fighting Urukai and stuff, and I was behind the camera making the noises, and you know.
And there's
sometime-
a blooper where he throws like a PCP pipe, like a small little pipe,
PVC
and it
pipe.
hits me in the balls. I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
Yeah, because at that scene Nick was the Urukai, and I was like, defend Helms Deep, and I threw the sword like an arrow, and it just went right into his balls. It was hilarious.
I was like, attack! And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, defend! And then just throws it and hits me in the balls, and I go down to the ground. He's like, all right, and the battle's over.
And that's it.
We won! Huzzah!
I would pay so much money to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Anyways, back to the movie. One thing I do like about the Helm's Deep battle is how attention to detail they were, because you can really tell, like, how much stronger the wall was, like, with the elves there compared to like the keep, where it was just like all the kids
Peasants
and the
and, yeah.
men that didn't know how to fight. And then they also do a really good job of like, the elves' arrows are so crisp and they're so clean, and they're shooting past people's heads. And then you see where the peasants shoot, and you see all these arrows wobbling, and just how bad like the shots were. It's just something cool, attention to detail. I
Yeah.
thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and also when you have like shots of like the wall, you see like the corpses and dead bodies on there as well. It's not just like empty for no reason at all, because they were like, we need to clear space. But you know, especially during Haldir's death, like they really show like just kind of how chaotic that wall was after, once, well, actually probably since the ladders came up to it, I also like how, speaking of getting hit in the balls, I mean, Gimli just strikes that berserker in the crotch, and it's like game over, That guy was dead.
One thing I did notice, I don't know if it's the sound effects, but it could have been like, it just sounded like their weapons were just like hitting like metal, and it's just like, I don't think that would kill someone, but who knows? It's all fun. Did you guys think that, or?
I guess, no.
Not really.
Well,
And-
there's just like a few scenes where Gimli would hit his axe like on like a chest, and then it just like a weird sound, and it's just like, I don't know if that would have killed him in one hit, but
So
it could have been me.
I watched a show called Forged in Fire.
Yeah.
Where people make blacksmith weapons, and then they do things like kill tests and stuff, and like they will actually have dummies with armor on, and
guys-
while it looks like sometimes like, oh, that didn't do damage, it's like you remove the armor and it broke all the ribs and internal organs behind it because it hit so hard.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So it could still kill even if they're wearing armor, and it may sound like just metal on metal, but it's doing damage, especially depending on, like I said, how hard you hit and where you hit. But
Well, so not even mithril armor can protect from that.
well, they don't have mithril armor.
I was about to say, don't think too hard about that Frodo scene with the spear,
Yeah.
with what Tay's saying.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
No, mithril armor is special and magical. So
All right.
this is only like plate metal or plate armor.
Yeah, and going back to I was saying earlier about like how good the prosthetics were for the characters. I mean, when you got those like when you have the Urks fighting on the wall and stuff, I mean, talk about attention to detail. I mean, they looked unnatural and like scary, like I loved how they made this movie look, and they did such a great job with it. And I do think they had a little bit of leeway since it was a dark scene. But still, even when you have like those close-up shots or just like the berserker on top of the wall kind of just destroying all the elves in the area, like it still looks really, really good.
I do like the one when they're doing their like chant. They showed like the one Urkai that like had yellow eyes. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they do a few close-ups during that chant. And it's just like every single one is just
different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different and detailed, and like the ones like just burping into the camera. You know? Yeah, I do think it's kind of. I mean, obviously, they breached the wall, and that's like a huge thing, right? I find it odd that they didn't try to like blow up the front door or something, because I felt like that was like the weakest part of the entire castle was like that front section. Like, yeah, they can't bring as many troops up along that small bridge, but I mean, plant one bomb there, and like their entire defense is just gone.
Well, they wanted to like surprise them because maybe they weren't fully aware of that. That vent was like a weak point for their defense.
Drain system.
Drain, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
Or then they also like bringing the bomb up that ramp maybe would have been a lot more noticeable and easy to take down before they got there.
That is also true. Good point.
I like the way they did it anyways, they all shielded up and then they're just kind of slowly moving up along the wall. So and they did know about it, but
yeah, when they have like the what is it called?
Battering ram.
The battering ram. It's like knocking off their own guys. And that just kind of shows how expendable these Urks were, because it's like, we can lose 10 guys moving this fucking ram up this bridge. Who cares? We have 10,000,
Yeah. What'd you guys think of the torchbearer who blew up the bomb?
Damn, like Legolas dropped the ball.
Yeah. I was like, why are you shooting him in his traps? Come on. Come on, headshot.
Two shots. He
it's like
I
was like, we've seen you shoot moving targets before and hit them precisely. Go for the head.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, like if we did kill him, like wouldn't someone other orc just pick it up and
probably. I mean.
Yeah, there was no stopping it at that point.
It would have been smarter if Legolas killed the guys that were carrying the bombs but I know a lot was going on.
Yeah, at that time you probably didn't even notice.
Those. Yeah. But you notice a guy carrying a weird torch that sparkles or like puts off sparks instead of just flames. So
I also like the part.
No. Go ahead.
I like the part. Actually, I do like the part where Gimli like jumps down from the top and just starts like killing the Urks down there. But they used, talking about from the last time, they used a miniature, right, for the Helms Deep explosion.
Yeah.
Looked fantastic. Once again, just kind of proving that miniatures are the best way to do things like that.
They are. The fact that you see like little like bodies flying and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure those were probably just like little dummies that were, rag dolls, so they could flail about as they fly through the air.
I can only imagine like being an actor in this movie and then doing what you do on set and then seeing the final product. You're probably like, holy shit,
Yeah. And then going back to what Yemmy was saying, how expendable they were. That the wall probably killed a lot of guys.
Probably killed about 1,000. Yeah. Whole group
probably
of them
got a lot more orcs than humans.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the ladder that Legolas shoots down. It's just like, oh yeah, just killed about 30 guys, with that ladder.
All right.
All good.
Just on the ladder, not counting the ones it crushed as it fell.
Oh yeah, probably 100 around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I going back to what Greedy was saying about like the peasants being, pretty bad, not as trained as the elves, obviously. I do like that they show like the kids and stuff, the younger kids who were throwing like rocks, and the one guy had like the one eye was missing, and you can kind of just tell like, yeah, they definitely like, I like that whole sequence where, it's just one of those sequences. It's just like you kind of feel the weight of this like battle, and then they're like going into the tunnels and taking all the able-bodied people, not even just old, young, cripple, doesn't matter. They had to use them, and I like how they showed them throughout the battle. Especially they showed the kid that Aragorn was talking to too. throughout in one scene in the battle too. And I thought it was like it's just great how they incorporated that stuff in, because if it was just normal suited up men, it wouldn't be as crucial. But because they show like the kid and the young kids doing the best they could, to knock those Urks off, like it's just a nicely done sequence of events.
At least
was
they
really
didn't show
good.
any of them dying.
Yeah, I mean, if they showed him dying, the movie probably would have been like rated R or whatever.
Yeah, I do like throughout this whole battle, it just becomes more and more desperate for people in Helms Deep. And you get that, and you're just like, crap. Like they're talking about retreating and trying to go into the caves to survive, and then daylight starts to break.
All because the king had to open his mouth and say, "This is the best you can do, sir, man." Then all goes out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So actually, I do have an answer for your question earlier. It took him at least 4 days to get to Helms Deep.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And then the 5th day arises, and Gandalf shows up with a bunch of guys.
Yeah, that's a very memorable scene, obviously, and
Yeah.
they had the power of the sun behind them.
Yeah.
Which
plus Gandalf the White just doing his shining thing.
Yeah. No, that's one of the great scenes too. It's kind of like the Deus Ex Machina, of the movie, but still, it's like it's pretty epic to see those horses coming down the hill and Gandalf's leading the charge. And and like immediately the orcs are like afraid, right? Through that whole battle, they are just evil, pure evil, and he shines that light, and that front line just like shrivels back in fear. And just that is the beginning of the end for them.
Yeah.
Who knew the horse would be the biggest nightmare for the orcs?
That was more the light.
Yeah. Or the light, yeah.
Yeah. The fact that a white wizard had suddenly showed up, and they're like, but I thought there was only one white wizard, and he was on our side. Yeah, he's not technically. Is Saruman still a white wizard? I feel like that's why the universe threw Gandalf back. Is like, well, our white wizard is a dick. We didn't.
I mean, you would know better than us, I guess.
Yeah, no, that stuff. That's like the similar. I can't even ever say it. But yeah, that's like all the extra stuff that I never cared to get into, because I was like, I don't need any of that in my life.
I do have a question though. When they're all in the hall of the kings, and they're like all talking, and they're like, "Oh, this is the end," and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to ride out." Gimli goes up to blow the horn, and then a few other guys stay back. What happened to them? Because I don't think the horse people got there, in time to save them. So it's like it would have been cool, like an extended version, just to see like a few action scenes of them like fighting off people in the keep. But I don't know. Yeah, no.
I don't remember the scene specifically, but I'm always down for more Helms Deep scenes. So.
It's right as they broke into the keep, and then the king and Aragorn and Legolas all ride out.
I know what you mean. Like whenever when the writers showed up, it's like that's it. They didn't show anything more of like inside the keep.
Yeah, and maybe their Urkais were all like, "Oh, we got to go to the reinforcements," so maybe they all flooded out to the battle, but.
Yeah,
perhaps.
And they could. I mean, isn't that the way to the caves too? Like through the keep is to the caves. So maybe they reinforced that door again. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I just thought it's like it would have been cool, extended version, maybe show what's up going on in there.
Yeah,
because they had to like flee to the main battle with the reinforcements, because that would have been a lot of Urkai for Gimli to fight by himself in that keep.
Nah, he's got it.
Yeah.
Gimli won that count, probably, but probably not, because Legolas always wins.
It just shocked me when Gimli and Legolas were talking about how many people Urkais they killed. I was like, I feel like it should have been a little more.
Yeah, like I'm only on 17. It's like that's it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, some peasant off to the side is like, I'm not even trained, and I've killed 48. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, Gandalf, Gimli has the severe disadvantage, though. I mean, he can only start fighting them when they get up there. So when he's like, he turns around and he goes, Legolas 2 already? And Legolas is like, I'm on 17. It's like, fuck.
That's why he wanted to be tossed. He's
Yeah.
like, I gotta get my numbers up.
It's all before his kill ratio.
Yeah, it's like if I don't get my numbers up, I'm gonna hear it from my boss and then get fired.
Yeah, gotta
My wife will be upset.
Increase
gotta
that
increase your
productivity.
KD.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, that's the Battle of Helms Deep.
Anything else?
I think we've gone over like everything. This has been a long episode.
Yeah. I think we gotten pretty much. I mean, I'm sure there's something we missed, but
Real quick,
probably.
when the orcs flee into the forest, that's the Ents killing them, right? Or was that something else?
the orcs fleeing into the forest, the Rohirrim were killing them.
No, when they flee into the forest.
In the forest, and Gandalf was like, "Oh, let them be," and then all of a sudden the trees like start shaking and they start.
I figured it was the Ents.
Okay.
Trees and Ents, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Trees and Ents.
Trees and Ents.
All right, Tay, you want to lead us off with your final thoughts and rating?
Oh, yeah, I get to do that. So, obviously, final thoughts. This movie is amazing. I love this movie. Great acting, great cinematography, great music. That Rohan theme, so good. It's my favorite Lord of the Rings theme ever, or song ever. And like I said, the battles, the pacing, everything of this was great. Unless you watch the extended version, this might change slightly, but and so I still love the extended version. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, this movie, like I said, everything about it. I mean, there might be some things here and there we can nitpick about. Like I said, some of the continuity in that first scene where like the orcs show up and Mary's hands are cut or unbound and then bound again. You know, we can nitpick, but overall, 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. If it was just Helms Deep, it would be a 5 out of 5. But since there's an entire other movie behind it, it's like a 6 out of 5.
All right. I didn't know we could go above.
No, it's a 5 out of 5 for posterity's sake. I'm saying like if it was just Helms Deep, it still would have been a 5. But I mean, there's like this is the movie that has I mean so far has like the best action, has the best character growth, has the best pacing. It has great cinematography, great music. I mean, the March of the Ents, the Rohan song, like Tay was saying, the Eisenguard theme is throughout the movie as well. I just, it all blends together so perfectly, and yeah, 5 out of 5.
You stole my joke. I was gonna also make that joke about how we all rated the first one, all 5 out of 5s, and this one is, if we all think it's better than the first one, then we should make this movie like the very first Film Freakz
6 out
like
of 5.
5.1 out of 5 or something.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, and I know there's a couple of scenes or times in this podcast it's like, yeah, that's questionable. It's not going to change my rating. It's just things that I noticed and just watching. I'm just like, nitpicking. That's a good word. But that Helms Deep battle, like I said, it's just so great how attention to detail it was, and just the build up, and then just everything about the Helms Deep battle. And yeah, I did watch the extended version. I did feel the runtime, but like soon as you get to the Warg scene, like it's over. Like you're like, oh yeah, let's go, keep going. I'm also gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna echo what Greedy just said in that I also watched the extended version, and I didn't walk away of the extended version as high as I was on Fellowship of the Ring, but I do just have very fond memories of the theatrical version and how much I admired it and how I thought it was even better than the first one. So I'm not gonna let the extended version bring the score down. I agree with everything you guys said, and I will also give it a 5.1 out of 5.
Huzzah!
Yeah, I mean, when I judge movies, it's usually by a theatrical release. So that's what I was basing my 5 out of 5. I would have said the same thing. Like the extended version does add a lot to the movie, and if you're a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, it's going to be the version that you're probably going to watch every single time. But for me personally, it's like the theatrical version is fine for me. It's the perfect pace, perfect length, and yeah, the extended version just it adds so much to it, but some of it is a little bit unneeded. Let's be honest.
Now I'm kind of scared of the third one, the extended
Yeah.
version from Return of the King.
No, the third one is definitely a must-see extended version.
All right, I'll commit to it. I'm watching the extended version.
All right, Callus, go ahead
Yes?
and what movie are you picking?
Well, I was trying to decide between two different movies, but in the end, I decided to go with the third movie of a series that I believe we all here love, and that is Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Hell yeah, no.
The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, of course.
Is this the
Of
second
course.
joke about Fast and Furious that
It
Callus has
is,
done?
yes, and it's not going to be the last.
I think we know his next pick.
Actually, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is the only Fast and Furious movie I've seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's probably the worst one.
I don't mind it.
All right, Callus, go through
All
the
right.
spiel.
So, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. There's like 4 different "thes" in that title. It was released in 2003, just 1 year after The Two Towers. Directed by Peter Jackson, has all the same cast: Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, etc. And it's basically Gandalf and Aragorn lead the world of men against Sauron's army to draw his gaze from Frodo and Sam as they approach Mount Doom and the One Ring.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, as I was saying, like the extended version for this one, I know they show like how they broke down the gate into like the Minas Tirith, the Bane battle, and it's really cool. So
Yeah.
definitely a good extended version for the watch.
Yeah, I might watch the extended version on this one. We'll see.
Either way, we're judging it on the theatrical release.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the extended. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I'll say as long as one of us sees the theatrical only, so they can be like, "Well, that's not in the theatrical."
All
Otherwise,
right.
we'll all be like, "Yeah, this scene. Everyone saw this scene."
So
Anyways.
yeah. If you want to join the conversation or not be spoiled for Return of the King, just go ahead and watch that before the next episode airs in 2 weeks. All 3 of these movies are in HBO Max in both forms, extended and the theatrical. So you can watch them there, or if you have the Amazon or DVDs or whatever, you can also watch them there as well. Don't forget to vote in the fan vote. I'm just going to quickly go over those movies one more time. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Pitch Black, Big Trouble in Little China, and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Just vote on what you want to hear us talk about, and we will certainly do that. Is there any particular movie you guys want to see win this time around?
I'm fine with 3 of the 4.
Yeah, anything but Transformers.
Don't say it, because people will go for
Too
it.
late.
Yeah.
I said it.
I wanna see
Edit
Pitch Black.
that out.
I remember watching that because Yemmy told me about it, and that was a while ago. So I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
Black
I
is
was
good.
I was a pretty big fan of Vin Diesel until I started to learn about who how he actually acts in public. So that,
Yeah.
there was a time when I was like really high on Vin Diesel, and I watched all his Riddick movies, and I was I wasn't into Fast and the Furious, but I don't mind him, but it's like you see him like going out into public, and he's like drunk, and he's like doing an interview, and he's hitting on the person doing the interview, and it's just kind of creepy, and it's like, okay. And then this whole thing with The Rock recently, it's like, all right, dude, you could totally solve this behind closed doors, but instead you decide to make it public. And that's besides the point. But if you want to vote on any of those movies, just go on to my Twitter at Yemmy the Ferret, and it will be in the replies to the main post for this episode, The Two Towers. Alrighty. Anyone else have anything they want to say?
Make sure to clean your ass.
Clean your ass.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
there you go.
All right. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with,
Greedy Waffles.
Taymation.
And Kalis.
and we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
They're
Actually,
taking the hobbits to Isengard.
they are taking the hobbits to Isengard.
His
Don't boil and
gardener.
mash me and stick me in a stew.